Hi, this is Callie, and this is my guide on how to calculate a true balance comparison for your live split. In the past, you would have to do something like this. You'd have to use a time percentage calculator and do this manually. Now, before we get into that, let's talk about why you would want a true balance comparison, if there already is a balance comparison in live split. While it is true that there is a balance comparison that you can compare against inside of live split, it has some potential flaws. This balanced calculation is weighted based off of your PB, averages, and potentially some other things. Balanced makes it so it distributes the time save more equally. For example, you might want to use a balanced comparison if your PB has an absolutely insane beginning. So let's say for a 120 star run, let's just say it's about an hour. Let's say your run is 2 hours. Let's say for the first 30 minutes, you play out of your mind. Every single split is a gold. You're not going to run against it and save time frequently. You're probably going to be behind almost every single time. That's a fourth of your run. What a balanced PB will try to do is it'll give some of the time save that you have later on and push it towards the front. The problem is that sometimes this difference can be so great that there are unrealistic beginnings still. Or you don't like that it's weighted and it's constantly shifting around. From one run to another, your first split might be a couple seconds off, depending on how many runs and attempts you've done. So a true balanced will take a fixed percentage, usually the difference between your sum of best and either your PB or a goal time that you have. For example, if I wanted to create true balanced splits for my PB, what I would have to do is I would have to go to a time percentage calculator and manually input my PB, manually input my sum of best, find the percent difference, clear these out, and then for my first split, which is castle entry, I would have to do this, and then I would have to write down this time. I'd have to go into a live split comparison, and I'll explain how to make this comparison later. And I would have to manually put the time in, and then go to the next split, and then go to the next split, and then go to the next split, and go to the next one, and manually do this. Now, in some games, this won't take that long. Or if you're doing a normal comparison where you're not doing single star or have a bunch of splits like I'm crazy wacko, I have 4 for Dark World where most people only have 1. It won't take that long, but if you're crazy like me, it'll take forever. For example, for me, I didn't make a true balance for my PB. Instead, I made it for my goal time. My goal time is a 1:43.53. I want to tie it or beat it. That is Siglemic's time. Siglemic is who got me into this game. So it's a goal of mine to beat. So for example, I have a comparison. So I did the exact same thing, except I inputted the goal time and the sum of best. And I manually went through and inputted them. This takes forever, and I thought it would be super sick if it was automated. So I told a fellow member of the community, Amitheous, about this, and he said, yeah, I could do that. I could automate it. So they made a sheet. So we'll go over how to use the sheet now. So in the description, you'll find a link to the sheet. You won't be able to input anything, but don't worry. Go file, make a copy. My copy of true balanced sheet. Cool. Let it load. Now let's go back to live split. And what you're going to do is you're going to select the segment name and drag all the way down to the bottom of best segment. Control C. Then you're going to come right here, column A, row 2, and Control V. And it'll automatically fill everything in. Now what you'll do is you come to Tools, Macros, Calculate Ideal PB. You're probably going to have to click this a couple times for it to work. Sometimes the script can crash, and from what I can tell, on first successful attempt, it won't actually go through because it has to request permissions. So here it has failed. From what I can tell, you should only have to do this 3 times. So for example, here, authorization required. So I'm going to continue. Click my user, allow. Okay. Tools, macros, calculate ideal PB. And here it is. By default, it uses 5%. So if you wanted to be within 5% of your golds, this is what your PB would be. Now let's go over, let's say you want to have a different one. So you'll use a time percentage calculator again. Let's say you want to be at a specific time. So you'll just simply find that time percentage difference. So for me, we're going to delete all of these. 1 hour, 43, 53. My sum of best, 39, 24. Calculate. You're going to grab the last end, so 4.51%. Come in here. It is very important that you don't just double click this. Highlight this, keep the percent, go. It's going to stay saying as 5%, but up here it's 4.51. Click on the blue box and drag down. There you go. So now your ideal PB, it's a little bit off, but that's okay. Your ideal segments will now be that percentage difference. Maybe you don't want a perfectly true balanced. Maybe you know, hey, I never get a 106 here entering the castle. Literally every single time, it's a 103. Okay. Well, what you can do is you can change the percent. Okay, that does work. Cool. Just make sure that you keep the percent here. So maybe I'll have it be 1% off. Or even less. 0.9. And then you could give that percentage somewhere else. That way, you can give it to your more problem splits and the splits that you're more consistent on. You won't get as much time saved. For me, I like it being true balance. It's nice going into the castle and always being ahead of the comparison. Okay, so now that we have all of these segment times, how do we actually create the comparison? Well, what you're going to do is you're going to come into Live Split, and you're going to save your splits as comparison example 2, because I already have one, because this is not the first time I'm trying to record this. So these are now your comparison splits. You can do whatever the fuck you want with these, and it won't affect your normal splits. So what you do is you highlight this entire segment, put it in, and there you go. And I don't know if I covered this, but you want to clear times. You don't want to highlight these and delete them yourself. Usually Live Split will crash if you have a lot, and you also want to keep your names. I'm pretty sure it's important that all of your names are the exact same as your other split file, which is why we make a copy of it. Okay. Save splits. So now you go over to... Oh, man. I think this is my split file. You go over to your regular split file. Edit splits. Other. Oh, no, sorry. Import comparison from file. Comparison example 2. Name 143 53 true balanced 2, because I already have one. And here they are. They're all filled out. Now what you can do is you can change your comparison to them if you want to run against them. Or, let's say, you want to compare against PB, but also have at the bottom like a normal comparison to it. In order to do that, you edit layout, add information delta, put that wherever, and then you change the comparison. You can change it hundredths, whatever you want. And now, if I have an insane run, you'll see that I'm crazy ahead of the comparison. This makes it incredibly fast to do this. It's actually crazy how useful this is. I am recording a tutorial video, 11 minutes explaining everything. It would have taken me an hour and a half doing this manually. I can very quickly update times because your sum of s will drop, which makes the percentage a little different. So there's that. I think that a live split component built into live split to automatically do this would be fantastic. If anyone wants to do that, please go ahead. Let me know if you do it. But in the meantime, that is how you make a true balanced comparison. If you have any questions, leave a comment. Shoutouts to Amitheous again for creating this godsend of a sheet. And I'll catch you guys in the next tutorial. See ya.